Good evening. This is Mrs. Lewis, and I am the 8th grade English Language Arts history teacher for EVA. And if your son or daughter is in my class, we start the day off first and second period together. And so our day starts at 8 o'clock this year. So with that said, I'm going to move right into the presentation. So with distance learning, I kind of moved this slide up to the beginning because this is where it's all happening. Everything's happening on the Google Classroom. Homework, journal calendars, classwork, all communication, all assignments, all materials, everything's housed in Google. We even start our daily meetings. Every day begins on the Google Classroom. The other thing we've changed this year is all teachers have a Google website. I did note that Olympus does not have my right link to my Google website, so I will try to correct that, but I do have a Google website, which I'm going to click on right now to show you how that's set up. The thing this year that we really want to emphasize is the synchronous, asynchronous time. I kind of was joking with the kids that, homework is going to be replaced by asynchronous. That when we meet from 8 to 8:30, that is our synchronous English time, and that is our safe space as a classroom where students and teacher engage on a daily basis, and we talk about whatever the topic is for English or whatever the topic is for history, and we ask questions, and that's where we engage in discussion. And it's also where I also preview what's going to happen for the day and what skill we're looking at and all that kind of thing, so that when they go to their asynchronous time, they know what to do. Asynchronous time is just like in the regular classroom, that once that short instruction period of 30 minutes happened, then students would be at their desks working independently while I walk around and look over their shoulder, so to speak. Well, how do you look over their shoulder in DL? Well, I keep the Google Meet open during the whole entire class period. So if kids want to come back and ask me a clarifying question, or they want to bounce an idea off me, or they want me to read or view something, I can do that. The other thing about asynchronous time is I can go into Google Classroom, I can start opening assignments, and I can start looking at work that students are already engaged in. So the new Google website this year, mine is looking like this. And my first page is my home page, which just gives you a little bit about the website and everything. The About tab talks about the different curriculum. So obviously in 8th grade, we're doing Amplify, and we have U.S. history as our history program. And the history book is an actual textbook, and Amplify is actually online. The calendar tab here would have all the Google calendars, any classes that I have. The Google calendars are right here. The assignments tab. So this is in case, let's say you were absent, or you need to make up work, or you need to go back and get something. I have this all categorized by weeks. So let's say you went on to this week and you needed to look at what we did last week. It would give you the play-by-play of what happened in the class with some links here to help you get to assignments. And I will divide all this up with the weeks this year so that you can easily navigate through all the assignments we've done. My other plan is to have some student work here that I can post to share some of the great things that we are able to accomplish this year. So this is what my website looks like. And once again, I will make sure the district knows to put the correct link to my website there. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. So once again, every single thing happens on Google. It's all about where we meet and how we start, and I'll probably show you that at the end too of what that meet looks like. As a teacher, I choose to use Google Meet as my live meeting format because I have the ability to do closed captioned for any student that was hard of hearing. The closed captions are also in Google Meet. You can hit a translate button and they can translate to 27 different languages. So if I had a newcomer come to the class, they would be able to look at the closed caption in their primary language in the Google Meet. So those are some of the advantages I have chosen to use as using Google Meet as our way of meeting, plus the consistency of kids knowing exactly where to start the day every day. Okay, so 8th grade language arts, you kind of saw that on my website. Amplify is our online text. No book is necessary. Even the novels themselves that I'm going to use this year are embedded in Amplify. Tom Sawyer, Life of Frederick Douglass, which we used during the Civil War. And Frankenstein, we will do that 3rd trimester, and we do have a graphic novel that goes with that. So we will have a pickup day where students can pick up that book in the 3rd trimester. Amplify is also really good because it has leveled writing. So I can differentiate for students and put students in different levels and move them around. There's a beginning, emerging, bridging, core, advanced, and students see a writing task every single lesson. And at the end of a unit, they have an essay that they have to do. So when they get their writing, even though all students are writing to the same Common Core standard, depending on what level you're in here, you get more scaffolding or less scaffolding, or you get some challenges along the way. We will be using student reading journals, which I will start introducing very soon to the kids this week. And students always need to have a book with them so they can choose how to respond. Within reading journals, we will be tackling universal themes and the gate icons and how to respond to literature at your own level. Outside of Amplify, I will go over some Greek and Latin roots. That will start soon. Trimester 1 and 2, we just do some straight out Greek and Latin roots. And then trimester 3, we try to pull in some vocabulary from classical roots. Amplify also has a vocabulary app that is very independent and self-driven, and it's self-leveling, and students can, if they remember from 7th and 6th grade, this is something they can completely do on their own. It's always the first lesson of every day. They have an opportunity to go into the vocabulary app. And once again, I can also move kids around the vocabulary app depending on their level. Amplify has embedded grammar within their lessons. It's usually on a flex day. And then Amplify also has the ability for me to go to an isolated grammar lesson all by itself if I need to do that. Okay, English grades. So my grading policy is totally based on the Common Core standards. So you can see the breakdown here of the Common Core standards and how they fit into my categories. So like reading journals, that's, such important in our core, because when I am reading student journals, I am meeting kids at their level with the book of their choice, responding at their level. And this is where, they get that very, very, very one-on-one type of feedback in their journal. Writing, we have 3 types of writing in 8th grade, same types of writing as 7th grade. Those will be covered obviously in Amplify too. Conventions, so the Greek and Latin roots, the vocabulary app, anything we do with grammar would be in that section. And Socratic seminar and speaking, I've always done Socratic seminar and speaking and listening, so I'm hoping we can tackle Socratic seminar through a distance learning, put kids in breakout rooms to work on with their teams, and then come back in as a whole class and do a seminar while we have a Google Meet. And we'll be doing lots of presentations and multimedia use, because a lot of this distance learning, these distance learning tools like Flipgrid and Edpuzzle and all this stuff have the capability of kids to do presentations. Okay, U.S. history. Constitution test, the biggie. We are still in discussion of how to administer a test. We are definitely going to have our rigorous Constitution unit, and we will have some form of assessment. We're not sure we can still do the test the way we did it in the past over distance learning. Typically, that test is that first week in November, right before report cards. But we're starting with American Revolution. We go through the whole 1800s, which includes the nationhood, the westward movement, the Civil War, Reconstruction, industrialization, and then we get to the 20th century and end with progressive reform. We also tackle document-based essays to prep for high school AP. Hopefully students have their first DBQ packet. They were supposed to pick that up from me on textbook distribution last week. And there was a white packet with QR codes on it, said DBQ number 3. After we finish the first 3 chapters in the history book, we'll be tackling our first DBQ essay. This is the grading policy for history. It is also very much based on the Common Core standards. And notice the Constitution test is not 50% of their grade like in the past, because I just don't think that's going to work in distance learning. So I'm going to make everything even. Everything's going to be 25%. The key ideas where we normally put our assessments. I also use Edpuzzle for assessment. Vocabulary, we do a lot of Quizlet, Kahoot, flashcard study, history assignments posted on Google, lots of participation in DL will be part of their grade, and projects too. So that'll all be there. And once again, we also want to remind everybody that our email, if you ever need to get in touch with us, just throw out an email to us. We all have that eurekausd.org ending, and it's our first letter, or it's our first initial and last name in that. The one thing I did want to show you too is how we start the day. So, this is our lifeline right here. The Google Classroom is everything in distance learning. It is the platform. So this right here is how your student comes into a Google Meet. So every morning at 8 o'clock, that's what they click on, or before 8, because a lot of them have been early to class, and that is where the Google Meet resides, and it's going to be there permanently. You don't have to worry about passcodes. You don't have to worry about ID numbers and all that stuff, and where do you find it? It's always right here. The other thing I would like to say before we end too, and I've been talking to the kids about this, is when we're in Google Classroom, everything's organized by the week. So here's the first 2 days of school, and here is the week we're in right now. So I really, really, really encourage students to work out of the classwork. This is where everything's organized. So if you needed something from last week, you just click right here and it's going to take you to last week. And it's going to get rid of everything else that's around there. So once again, working out of the classwork button, this is the best place to work out of. This is where you really want to, work out of. Google Classroom has grades, but it does not talk to PowerSchool. So even if you see a grade in Google Classroom, that does not necessarily mean it's in PowerSchool, because I still have to transfer it over by hand. Everything we do is right here. The other thing too that I wanted to point out was how I was going to handle history. History is not an online program for us. So my plan, and the first one was revealed today with students, I have these slide decks. And when we do a chapter, everything within the chapter should be within the slide deck. So this is the title slide, and then everything here is a live link. So today we started here. So you do your pre-read first. You click on here, it takes you to your pre-read. You click on here, it takes you to the assignment on 5.2. So everything you absolutely need. This, when you click on this is a video of me reading the history section, which I feel is very important. Kids need to spend a lot of time watching my videos, because that's where they can stop, and because I will stop in the video and make sure that all the important things are pointed out in the video. I also have check for understanding. So after they're done with the section, they can click right here. It takes them to a real quick comprehension check to see if they understood that section. In distance learning, we are looking also for lots of choices at the end for assessment. So you're going to see a lot of choice boards this year. So I wanted to show you what the one that's coming up right now. And so the kids have 3 choices at the end of chapter 5 on what they want to do. And we've also talked about how the colonial unrest meter here is the challenge activity, the one that's very, the one that's going to take the most critical thinking in that one. So I did want to share with you exactly what history would look like. Since it wasn't online, you can see a slide deck. So once again, if you have any questions at all about 8th grade English or 8th grade history, you have our email right there. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation in the comfort of your own chair.